Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'll be going over my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I know everybody else has got their own favorites, and that's fine. So, please don't get after me in the comments, okay? So, I think I'm going to start with my lower pick, and that would be Scream, the original. Now, I know what you're thinking. Please don't get mad. I do love Ghostface and everything, and Ghostface in the Scream franchise was the franchise that pretty much kicked off slasher genre in the 90s. Like, we awoken it, basically, and I thank them for that. But, like, I would say if I had to rank my favorite iconic slasher villains, like Ghostface would have to be like number 4 for me. I love his mask and everything, but it's just like a droopy mouth. While Jason had the hockey mask, Leatherface had skinned up, cut up people's faces, and Michael had the white mask that freaked people. But he still had a good look too. Don't get me wrong. And I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I can say it is well worth the watch. Oh, and also, when I started watching Douglas Little over at Drown Boy Productions, shout out to him, when he was giving off all of the movie masks from each movie, I said, dadgummit, I didn't know they had several different masks for this movie, and then the others, of course. Because I found out that they couldn't use the rights for the Fun World one, so K&B had to make one that was like more droopy eyes, shorter mouth, and they were going through different tests, and they were going to pick a mask with teeth, fangs, or just weird concept. I think they're out there on the internet. You can look them up. But anyway, I said this movie went through a lot, and then finally they got the rights from Fun World to use their mask, and I said that's better. And Drew Barrymore's in it. I said, she's a lovely actress, and I love how the Scream franchise has a killer that, builds up to whoever it is, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, you're trying to suspect who is the main killer, basically, in your group, until finally at the end they reveal it, and then they explain why they do it. And I said, I loved it. Love that whole fiasco, whatever, or scenario in each of the Scream movies. They kind of pulled it off in a Scary Movie as well, but that was more of a funny parody. But Scream, everyone. My number 4 pick, Candyman. Oh man, I tell you, when I saw this movie for the first time, I kind of went like, ugh, when Candyman lowered his jaw and bees started coming out of his mouth. I said, ain't no way. And Tony Todd said that they were just baby bees. They didn't have no stingers. But he said he tried to open his mouth up before they even said action or whatever, because the bees kept swarming in his mouth. And he was afraid of them swallowing them. But I said, man, he had guts to do that. I ain't doing it. Also, the kill scenes. Oh my God. Every time you say the name Candyman 5 times, get the hook in the back, or just thrown all over the place, guts going out. Oh my God. Oh, the sickest scene in this movie was when they were telling the backstory. With the little boy was telling the main character's name. What's that woman's name? You might have to let me know down in the comments, but the woman that's doing a report for college. Well, anyway, the boy was talking to her about they had an incident where another boy went to go to the bathroom and the supposed Candyman cut his off, and they had to show it. And I was like, oh, God. It made my U-Haul hurt just seeing that. Like they had his thing in the toilet, and the boy was just rolling around the floor like in pain. I said, well, don't just stand there and call the police or something. But I mean, the police don't hardly show up in that neighborhood. But anyway, and then the finale is like Candyman steals the baby and then puts the blame on the woman. But finally, she was able to stab Candyman. And that scene with the bees flying up out of the fire, that was amazing. I don't know how they did that, but anyway, it might have been CGI. But then she crawled out with the baby, but she got burned to death. I said I hated that. So, this is an awesome movie. I highly recommend it. Alright. Hold on, folks. My glasses are fogging up, and then my nose is itching. I gotta straighten that out real quick. Okay, I'm back. I decided to do the rest of this video without the glasses. They kept fogging up on me. But anyway, my number 3 pick. Now, this was kind of a hard choice to make because I wanted to put a Friday the 13th film in my ranking. But to be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of like parts 1 and 2, but 3 through Jason X and the remake I did like, in a way. So I just picked the remake. This is like my favorite Friday the 13th out of the Friday the 13th Jason franchise. Now my second favorite had to be Jason X because I love the whole idea of him in space and Robo Jason. But anyway, I'll talk more about that if I do a Jason or Friday the 13th franchise ranking. You guys will get the idea. But anyway, basically, this one was pretty much a remake of the original, but they killed off Mrs. Voorhees right away in the beginning of the movie, and they show young boy Jason picking up the machete that killed her, and then jump forward years later, he's all grown up. He's wearing like this sack mask, which looks more tight around the face than the part 2 Jason. And long and behold, a bunch of campers come around. Now, all remake horror movies, they have to up the nudity. But I hate to admit it, I was like them young boys that every time I saw girls flash their chest and everything, I was like, whoopee. But anyway, like you can probably see right here in that girl. But they're just to camp and hang out. But one of the guys was actually looking there for marijuana. Then Jason kills him and all of his friends. And he's doing it while this girl I just showed you and her man was in the tent doing it. But anyway, I didn't mean to put that picture in the head. But then she gets rolled up into a sleeping bag and gets burned to death anyway. And then he gets stuck in a bear trap and he swings the machete right in his head. And then Jason takes the girl that survived with him as a hostage. And then a year or so later, another group of people are coming into town to go to this rich boy's dad's cabin, which automatically I do not like him at all because he was acting like a spoiled brat, like nobody drives my boat, only me. Or, you broke my dad's chair. That's my dad's favorite chair or table, whatever it was. But you know what I mean? Like, and he said he don't allow strangers in his house or whatever. He was just acting all mean and everything. I said, people like that, I just want to either ignore or punch. Anyway, so the girl that survived from the camping experience is still trapped with Jason because he looked at the necklace that they found of his mother, and she looks almost identical to her. And her brother went out to look for her, and then he started killing off the people at the cabin, of course, until finally they were the only 2 survivors. And you know how they defeat Jason in this movie? Wrapped a chain around his neck and threw it through like a tobacco feeder or something and hanged him. And they thought they killed him, but they threw him in the lake. And spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie, but he popped out and grabbed him and boop, in the movie. I wish they made a part 2 of this or something, but they never did. They only made the one and done. That's my 3rd pick. Now, here's my last 2. And my 2nd place is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What a true classic masterpiece right here. No Texas Chainsaw Massacre after this could ever beat the original. And plus, you know, I hate to admit it, but the Next Generation one kind of messed up the original timeline altogether. And then they did the 2 remakes, and then 2 reboots already, and a prequel to the original. But anyway, it's all over the place, and now they're thinking about doing another one. But I'm like, come on. But anyway, the original can't be beat. Part 2 was funny. I could let you in on that. Part 2 was more hilarious. And I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this, but it seemed like in every Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, each Leatherface kind of acted different. Well, I mean, they are different, but people kept saying, like, in part 3, it was that Leatherface acted like the one that got injured right here in this one. So I figured, okay, that's part 1 Leatherface in that one, in that movie. And then part 2, Leatherface was able to walk around all right, but he was more like with the chainsaw. And anyway, you guys get the point. But they just seemed to act different. While this one stuck with the idea, okay, he wears one mask, which is known as the killing mask, and like when you first see him. And then when he's prepping meals, he's wearing an old lady mask. And then when he's out eating dinner, he's wearing this costume, which is his pretty woman attire. But anyway, his Sunday best, if you will. And when they did Next Generation, that kind of they were trying to copycat this, because every single other movie was just like all about more stitching to the mask or making it look more gnarly or like this with the mean eyebrows and stuff. But the kills in this was great. I love the chainsaw in there. Nothing can beat that original green Poland 245. Hey. I did like some of the other chainsaws in some of the other movies, but I like the masks in this one. And the story arc was great, where the group of kids were traveling to go to their, father's house. Or 2 of them had a father that owned the house there, and the others were just tagging along. Until a couple of them went to the house of Leatherface, and he ended up killing them because he didn't want nobody trespassing. Until finally, the late Marilyn Byrd's character, Sally, she was the only one that survived and got out, thankfully. But never be the same again. And, they did the one for Netflix, and that one was trying to be a sequel to this. But to be honest with you, I think Texas Chainsaw 3D was a better sequel for this one than that one, in a way. But the guy that played Leatherface in there did a good job. But anyway, I'll do a whole Leatherface ranking thing later. So, finally, my number 1 top pick. And I've seen this on everybody else's pick too, but you can't go wrong with the original Halloween. Michael Myers is my favorite all-time slasher, and he always will be. But basically, little Michael Myers goes crazy since his babysitter sister did not want to take him trick-or-treating. And basically goes into a kitchen, grabs a knife, and in this version, the boyfriend just gets up and leaves. While in the remake, Rob Zombie he killed him off. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. So, goes in there, kills his sister. And then later, on Halloween night, 1978, which this film pretty much takes place on, starts to go out and kill some other random people until he encountered Laurie Strode, which in the sequel said it was his sister. But I like the idea when they did 2018 Kills and Ends, they did not acknowledge them two as brother and sister. They just acknowledged them as random people he was trying to get. But anyway, true John Carpenter classic. All the other films can't beat this one either. I'm sorry. But, they tried, but you can't. And I just heard that they're doing a Halloween TV series, which I thought that was going to take place after Halloween 3. But no, it's going to be leading up to the events of this night right here. I said, that's going to be pretty neat. And I heard they're going to be getting more movies on the way. I said, yes! Can't wait for that. I think this is also the reason why I like Halloween Mask a lot, because I like Michael's mask in this movie. So, hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 horror movies of all time. And I might update it as the years go by, but right now this is my top 5 I'm sticking with. So that's going to be it for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. And I'll see you next time, everybody.